Before I know some faces here, some colleagues, some friends. Before I start, I would like to get a feeling who is in the room, who I'm talking to, and how well you're familiar with Facebook marketing. Can you raise your hand who deals with Facebook advertising on a daily basis? Good room. Good stuff. Now, how many of you are either now in the process of launching a game or recently launched one? Just very, very recently. Good stuff. Good. Okay. So the crash course will be taking turns with some of my colleagues from Facebook and give you a good understanding of what Facebook marketing for mobile games is about and how we look at all the solutions that we have. Now, my name is Igor Pashchenko. I've been at Facebook for about 5 years now, and I've been lucky to see quite a few companies, grow from scratch, launch their games, see them accelerate throughout the global audiences. And I've seen this transition from 5 years ago, 6 years ago, from web, mostly games, to mobile. The transition has been tremendous. Now all we talk is about mobile, and and my colleagues will be covering the mobile part primarily, of course. When we talk about Facebook gaming nowadays, and comparing to the years before, the Facebook gaming family has grown a lot, and we focus a lot on communities. And the gaming community is at the heart of Facebook gaming's mission. We want to build the world's gaming community that's going to be a place where everyone can experience and enjoy games together. And when we talk about gaming communities, we talk about 3 pillars. They are connect, create, and care. Connect these communities in the first place, and then create the solutions that will be beneficial to the communities themselves, to the users, and to the advertisers. And of course, care. Show the care and help you drive value for your players and care for the ecosystem in general. Facebook gaming has evolved a lot over these years. It's one of the very, very important divisions, let's call it, within Facebook. And when we say Facebook gaming, we mean quite a few different teams, from the sales teams that usually start the first relationship with a publisher, with advertiser, with game developer, to partnerships using Facebook's technical solutions, monetization, audience network. How many of you, by the way, were at the event that Audience Network did yesterday? Can you raise your hand? Good. All right. So Audience Network, the monetization part, they monetizing the games. The massive trend is ad advertising these days. We'll talk a bit about it later. And this is one of the teams that takes care of developers from that side. There's measurement, and my colleague Kate will cover a good part of it after my presentation. There's marketing, creative shop coming up with innovative, interesting solutions for our creatives. So there's a big and quite a few other teams that work to build up the Facebook gaming ecosystem. When we talk about the numbers have been luckily growing. Facebook family of apps and services has 2.7 billion across monthly and 2 billion daily players. Your players, the players of your games, are on Facebook. On any of our services, be it Instagram, be it Audience Network, through other apps, or directly on Newsfeed. And today, as a part of the talk of this crash course on Facebook marketing, I'm going to cover, and my colleagues will cover, several parts. First of all, I'll talk about placement, what to look at, what to focus on when you choose placements, where to run the ads for your games. Then auction bidding. I'll cover some of the basics for auction, for you to understand and see how much focus you need to be giving it, or versus how much freedom you're going to give to our machine learning to find the best players for you. Also, targeting optimization, really important part. I'll cover that and cover some of the basics and more advanced things in those aspects. And also, my colleague Alina will cover creative formats, the bits and pieces there that have become more and more important in the past years. And I would say particularly last year and this year, this is going to be really, really important to focus on. And then measurement, Kate will focus a lot on in detail on the measurement aspect, which is also, along with the creative, the measurement part is really, really necessary for advancing UA team, marketing teams, and promote the games profitably. And also, audience network will be covered by my colleague Boris, who will host a fireside chat after our sessions today. So there are several questions you'll need to be asking when you go through each of the aspects of building the strategy for mobile games. And as I mentioned in these sections, where do you want the ads to appear? How does the auction work? Whom do I want to target? Whom do I want to see my ad? So these areas is what we'll focus about. First of all is the placement. Placement is multiple placements we have in our system, and every single placement, be it newsfeed, be it Instagram, be it audience network, multiple apps in our family, or be it Messenger, it's a chance to connect with your potential player. There's certain placements, and what's important to keep in mind is that if you include all the placements, if you give the freedom to our system to just decide where to find your players, then you maximize the opportunities to find the cheapest and the most valuable players. If you exclude any placement, you exclude the opportunity to connect with the potential audience. So here you can see, the same ad will be shown in different ways across multitude of placements with different creatives, which will be covered later. You've got vertical, you've got square, you've got landscape, be it videos or just static images, and all these placements they work well together. And through our solutions, a few years ago, there was a lot of debate when we introduced the so-called placement optimization or automatic placements, whether the advertisers, the game developers, want to include them all and just let them run, or exclude and work and tweak things. I would say a couple of years ago, it was a big trend where advertisers, particularly the most sophisticated ones, they wanted to work separately with each of the placements and optimize it, and optimize absolutely everything out of it. Now, with our advanced machine learning, the more freedom you give to the algorithm to optimize, the more options you have. By just checking in the box and going full automatic, the better will be for you. So just long story short, automatic placements for the new advertisers, for medium, for more advanced, in the majority of cases, I would say between 70–80% and above is everyone who uses automatic placements. Following on the placements, I would like to single out one specific that has seen really strong growth, particularly in the last year, and keeps accelerating, keeps being the growth engine of Facebook gaming, is rewarded video. Rewarded video, as most of you know, I'm sure, is a format that's very, very native, very dear to gaming world, because you play a game, you want to progress, you don't want to pay, you just opt in to watch a video of most likely it's going to be of a game, and then you earn some points, you progress in the game, or whatever is written in the game code. So this format has been growing really strongly in the past few quarters, and based on our insights, based on what we hear from you guys, from game developers, and based on the research that we're on, we see the probability of players to pay if they watch rewarded video is much higher than if compared to other formats. And in terms of performance for you, what you will be essentially interested in is performance of this format. This is a really, really growing format, and it's growing strongly in adoption. It's a game engine for Audience Network and overall for our family of apps. Moving on other aspects of the crash course, let's call it, is auction and bidding. I'll cover just the basics. We can dedicate a few hours to the auction, but I think the more we evolve our solutions for mobile games, the less it is necessary to discuss auction in much detail, because the machine learning takes care of in good quality of the optimization. So when we talk about the basics of the auction, there are certain things you need to keep in mind when you build the strategies for the games and how the auction works. So the auction takes into account the total value that will be given to advertiser and to the end user. And the advertiser value is made of advertiser's bid and estimated auction rate. So the bid, it's simple. If you, the system looks at how much you're bidding. If it's automatic bid, then the system may maximize that part. If it's manual, then it's a fixed price that you're willing to pay in this specific auction. And then auction rates, action rates are the probability that a game will be clicked on, the probability that a conversion will happen. So these parts are covered in the advertiser value. And then user value is not less important because it covers the consumer experience. It takes into consideration like quality score, if the X-out rates, if the ad is annoying, if the frequency of an ad is too high, then it will be crossed out and will be turned off by users. So and if on the other side, if an ad is engaging, and if there are likes and comments, and if there are conversion rates coming from that ad, and if it drives value for the user, then it will improve this part of the total value that's taken into consideration for the auction. Then this part has dealt primarily with bidding. The next part is quite important. It deals with pacing. So pacing is a mechanism that our auction uses to decide how quickly the budget, be it budget on ad set level or on campaign level, how quickly it will be used throughout the day. So there are two ways to set the pacing. The two things that you can focus on, that you can kind of change, is way of delivery, whether it's a standard delivery or accelerated delivery. I would say most gaming advertisers use standard delivery, which means your ad campaigns will be running evenly throughout the day. If you're doing a game push, if it's a time-sensitive campaign, if you're tied to some specific event that's real-time, 3 p.m. GMT time, for example, you need to really push the campaigns, promote some in-game event, for example. If you work with influencers, then it's a good idea to use accelerated delivery, which means your budget may be used very quickly, much quicker than it would have been used throughout the day. And it will kind of outbid in the auction as much competition as possible. So normally, as I said, the majority of gaming partners use standard delivery, and for the pushes, the accelerated would be an option. Now, I've mentioned bidding in the pacing part. There are three types of bidding primarily used in gaming. There's lowest cost, target cost, and lowest with bid cap. So those who have been working with advertising on Facebook for a while, you will remember these as automatic or average bids or max bids. Again, just like with placement optimization or with automatic placement, the majority of partners that we've been working with, they use lowest cost, which means you just give our system as much freedom as possible. You don't want to play around with bids too much, and you want to focus on more strategic things. You just let the system roll, and it will automatically give you the best players at the lowest cost possible. And there are multiple use cases how you choose which one to use. Let's say if you're just soft launching a game, if you don't really know what your KPIs will be, what the cost per action will be, then you may opt into target cost, which will give you just roughly the average of the price that you're willing to pay for an install. Or lowest cost with bid cap, it's a hard price that you're willing to pay. It's not any cent higher. But be mindful that if you set the bid cap, you're not taking you won't be getting the expensive installs because you're capping, but you'll be also missing out on the cheapest installs. The system will optimize to be as close to the bid cap that you're bidding as possible. So long story short, lowest cost is your way to go throughout the game life cycle. For the start, likely target cost could be an option, for example. Now, in terms of the next part, how you build out your strategy, you will look at targeting and optimization. So targeting, that's a beauty of a Facebook system, that you can really target quite narrowly, quite broadly, depending on the objectives that you're setting for your campaigns. And you will be combining the two. You cannot have them separately. You have to choose the audience and how you optimize towards that audience. So you define the audience based on location, on demographics, on interests, for example, and then you optimize towards installs, towards value. I'll cover this later, but then you make sure that you combine them in the most optimal way. And one small disclaimer here, it's the solutions we will discuss today, they're not prescriptive, they're not one size fits all. They will be very, very different for each stage of your game life cycle, and also depending on the monetization type of the game. If the game monetizes primarily through in-app purchases, then there are certain solutions that work best for you. If some of your games monetize primarily through ads, it's different. By the way, how many of you run games that monetize primarily through advertising, not IAPs? All right, good. That's, I would say, a couple of years ago, it's not as many as actually I expected, because I think its trend, especially I've seen quite a few developers in the CE region, in Central Eastern Europe and CIS area, where the big wave of Voodoo and Ketchup has spread over, and lots of really talented developers build their games that monetize through ads, and some of them build the first games ever. They decided to go into gaming industry and start from that in-app advertising model. Primarily, I'll cover the in-app purchase, but I'll cover in-app advertising as well. Now, in terms of targeting, there are three ways, three aspects of targeting. Very basic. There's native, based on location, interest, demographics. There's custom audiences, working with the players that you already have, and taking them from your CRM and then re-engaging them, for example. And there's lookalike audiences. Simple and basic. You look for similar players to the ones that you have. So this is the part of targeting, and then this targeting you combine with the optimization. Now this part gets more exciting because the menu list that you have, the ways you have, the number of ways you have to optimize is quite big. Now you've got installs, which is mobile app installs, the solution that we rolled out a long time ago, the first one in 2012. And there is app event optimization, which was rolled out a few years ago, and it was the massive growth engine for gaming, because it allowed to optimize primarily through purchases. Some more advanced, more creative clients advertised and focused on tutorial completes and level achieved, but primarily it's been purchases. Now there's value, which is, let's call it like a whale catching mechanism. You're looking for the most valuable players that will most likely pay in the game. And there's retention, the solution that we rolled out just under half a year ago, and that really focuses on day 2, day 7 retention. Well, one of the key metrics in games is retention, and this is a solution primarily for developers that either monetize only through games, or at least, let's say, 20% of monetization comes through games and 80% through IPs. So these are four options that you can choose from, depending again on the game life cycle, which I'll cover later. In terms of some cases, we've we have a bunch of different cases for each and every solution, but I'll just cover a couple most recent ones that have been used by, I'd say, some of the most sophisticated partners that we have. First of all is Gram Games, really successful developer that they jumped on the the opportunity of testing retention optimization as soon as we rolled it out, and since they have mixed monetization model and retention is really important to them, they tested the solution, and what they did, they improved their 7-day retention by 23% when they ran a test with us in the fourth quarter of last year, and also not only the 7-day retention, they improved 28-day retention by 13%, and 0.5% improvement was also in the number of payments 60 days following the tests. So this is retention optimization. This solution has been a big focus for us. It's steadily growing, and throwing it into the mix if you have ad monetization is a good idea. Another good case is with Small Giant Games. Most of you, I hope, know this developer. They're a really good success story because they're a bunch of game veterans with a lot of gaming knowledge coming in, building a small team, really nimble, really agile, based in Helsinki. And they're one of the clients that have been most pleasure to work with because they're really eager to test, eager to iterate and jump at the opportunities to kind of run experiments. This is also a big pleasure of working with gaming in general. For me, having been working with this for 5 years, you guys are trying to kind of build new ways, build new solutions on top of ours, find creative ways to optimize and to kind of promote the games in the most efficient way. So what Small Giant Games did, they tested campaign budget optimization. This is a solution that allows you to optimize your campaign budgets and kind of disperse the budgets between ad sets very quickly without your intrusion. So this takes away the time of UA managers and lets you guys, some of you who are UA managers, lets you focus on strategy and more more advanced solutions, more interesting ways of hacking your games and growing them to the world. So Small Giant Games, they used campaign budget optimization. One of the reasons I would say they used it because they have a small team and they know the value of time, and they combined this with value-based lookalikes. So the lookalikes that you build based on the values from the players that you're expecting. And what they saw was 83% increase in return on ad spend and 5 times more installs from those campaigns. And the CPI dropped by nearly half. Now, you'll be asking, as I mentioned at the start throughout the talk, you'll be asking yourself, okay, which of these solutions do I use at each stage of the game promotion? How do I combine these solutions? And here are kind of the basics based on each stage. I'd say initial game, when you just launch the game, the first 3 to 4 weeks, for example, most people use app install optimization. Then as you move further, I would say the late will be roughly half a year. You will be mixing up between app installs, and mind you, app installs are kept even half a year into your game promotion lifecycle. You keep app installs at roughly maybe 30%. You throw app event optimization into the mix almost from the start, and then value optimization. This is for games, of course, that primarily optimize through in-app purchases. If you're talking about games that monetize through advertising, then app install optimization will be the majority throughout, usually. Now, speaking of the breakdown for optimization, between initial and late stage, when we do just app install campaigns, then at the very start, you'll be doing roughly 35% of each. And then later in the stage, you'll be moving much more towards kind of very, very broad campaigns, interest campaigns. So opening up the pipelines and getting a lot of players through app install campaigns. Now, if we're talking about app event optimization, it doesn't, the way of targeting doesn't change that much, but broad and interests increases. So you combine app event optimization and the broad interest. So you open up the pipes to go as broad as possible, but you optimize towards purchases, which hedges your risks and allows to be sure in the promotion. And when we talk about value optimization, so once you've passed lots of purchase events, you have really good players in the games, and you've caught a few whales, you're sure you'll be using the solution, then combining value optimization with lookalikes, with value-based lookalikes as well, has proven to be very successful. And last but not least, another solution that's kind of helping to go even deeper in the optimization is setting the minimum return on ad spend that's combined with value optimization. So you set the ROAS targets, let's say 1%, 1.5%, 2% that you really need to hit for your campaigns, and you have a lot more control. You have the benchmarks for success, and these campaigns are not for scaling. These campaigns are really to narrow down in your optimization and getting the most valuable players. So that's my part for optimization, placements, and targetings. And I would like to invite my colleague Alina Chernetsova, please. She will share her insights on creative.
Igor, thank you for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Today, I will talk about how to communicate your message to potential customers through our creative formats. It is clear that targeting and optimization are very important pieces of the puzzle, but a great campaign also needs to tell a cohesive, alluring, and captivating story. Good creative is thumb-stopping. It makes people want to lean in and hear what you have to say. Our ad solutions help you to reach your audience across multiple placements. So you can use different creatives from short form and on the go to lean back and everything in between. We have the tools that will allow you to create truly immersive, powerful experiences that don't only look great, but also drive real results. Video can be used in many forms and formats to increase installs and drive re-engagement. From bite-sized animated GIFs that capture attention to interactive experiences that further discovery. Ultimately, it's about driving engagement. Comparing interactive ad formats with Facebook's ability to show your ads to the people that most likely to be interested in your game can help you drive high-intent qualified installs. This is why we're bringing playable ads to Facebook newsfeed and audience network. We opened up playable ads to rewarded video placement on audience network in October last year. And after successful tests, now we're rolling out playables to interstitial placements. Based on our tests, playable ads on audience network drive higher intent players. Playable ads let people try your game before choosing to download. And our playable ads showcase your game in an immersive manner involving lead-in video and a prompt, enticing people to tap to try. As you dive into creating your playable ad, here are some best practices we find to help drive performance. Give a high-quality view into your game or show a short tutorial during the lead-in video. Provide instructions through text or visuals at the beginning of your game demo to give a short tutorial on how to play your game. Feature gameplay that is an accurate representation of your game an accurate representation of your game itself and considers a new player experience. Consider key areas that make up the playable ad. So it's game length, difficulty level, and visual appeal. Try different assets to try different assets of your playable ad game demo and lead-in video to optimize the ad experience. Now I would like to share a success story. I'm pretty sure you're all familiar with this developer. Rovi wanted to test a new digital ad format to see if it could deliver better results than traditional ad formats and increase installs of its Angry Birds Blast mobile game. To attract awareness and grow its fan base of game players, Rovi was excited to beta test playable ad format. After trying the game, people stay more involved and engrossed, which boosts the likelihood that higher intent players will go on to install the app. Rovi saw that the mobile app ads in playable format delivered 34% lower cost per install, 6 times higher click-through rate, 40% lower cost per paying user, and 70% lift in day 7 return on ad spend. Another way we find that people love to engage is through stories. People love stories. Ever since of the introduction of this format on Instagram, it's been one of our most popular formats. Stories fulfill people's need to consume, interact, and share interesting content. The stories format has emerged hand in hand with the camera effects, AR, and interactivity. And this level of integration allows for a richer experience than anything else we've ever seen on mobile. Furthermore, stories match consumer behavior. People hold their phones vertically around 90% of the time. So why not build a visual medium that will be fully vertical? Furthermore, people go through content much faster on mobile, retaining and recalling information at a much higher speed than on desktop. And stories match to this trend. They're optimized for vertical full-screen viewing that allows to watch many videos or click through many photos quickly. The Facebook family has recently embraced the shift to stories, and behavior is blossoming across our platform. Instagram was the first app in our family to embrace people's need for full-screen, short-form, and ephemeral content. We launched Instagram Stories to people in August 2016, and we were overwhelmed by how quickly people adopted this format and how much they loved it. The success of Instagram Stories and its incredible growth led us to believe that stories and camera-based messaging are experiences that people are craving across our platforms. This led us to test and roll out stories on Messenger in the following September and on Facebook and WhatsApp in January and February 2017. We've observed that people embrace stories across our apps and services. And we know now that the desire for full-screen, playful, and authentic content is universal. As of January 2019, over 500 million accounts are using Instagram Stories on a daily basis. This is an incredible amount of growth in a relatively short period of time, and only further proves how effective this format can be at truly engaging communities. The launch of video ads in Instagram Stories has been a great success, and many brands have already leveraged stories to illustrate moments and create impactful brand experiences. So 500 million Instagrammers using stories every day, with 1/3 of the most viewed stories coming from businesses. And now I want to share with you a case study. So Plandemic used products and services across the Facebook family of apps, and including Instagram Stories as a new channel to reach high-value users. The company developed ad creative containing actual gameplay footage that accurately reflected the fun nature of the game and showcased it in an immersive and engaging way. Plandemic Instagram campaign resulted in a 29% increase in return on ad spend and increased the click-through rate by 50%. It also lowered the cost per click to the App Store by 85%. Igor already mentioned that generally we recommend our partners to select automatic placements. And many advertisers who choose this route find our placement asset customization feature located in Ads Manager especially helpful in ensuring how exactly their ads will appear. It also enables you to tailor your ad creative to your marketing strategy when you're buying ads across multiple placements. So, for example, you can upload vertical video that fits in Facebook feed aspect ratio of 4:5. Another vertical video that fits in Instagram Stories aspect ratio of 9:16, and Instagram video ratio 16:9. You can do this all within a single ad set. So you can see how it works here. It's important to know that although you can customize assets such as image and video, you cannot customize the text that will appear in your ads across multiple placements. Also, we do recommend creating a bespoke, fully vertical creatives for Instagram Stories. But you still can use the same assets for Instagram Stories and Instagram Feed, because the videos and photos that you upload for Instagram will be automatically formatted to fit both placements. So the short intro we've run through today taps the surface of our capabilities when it comes to effectively and efficiently helping you drive discovery, engagement, and success across our gaming community. Our key recommendations will be useful not only to those who are only starting to run ads on Facebook, but also to those who want to maximize results. We recommend using automatic placement because this enables us to find the best results available across all default placements. When it comes to bidding, we recommend using lowest cost if you want to maximize your results. And to run successful campaigns, make sure to align your targeting strategy with our optimizational goals. And consider new formats that will help you to create engaging and interactive experiences that will help you to drive your bottom line results. At Facebook, we know how it can be hard to make the right decisions when you're only starting with your UA campaigns. If you're a new game developer or you're new to user acquisition, I would like to introduce my colleague, Christina Pashchenko, who is here today. Christine is our leading Facebook gaming activations in EMEA, and she will be happy to learn more about your business and help you to scale. So you can reach her directly after the session, or just send an email to gamingmarketing@facebook.com. Also, in a few minutes, my colleague Kate will talk about why engagement is important for mobile gaming advertisers. Thank you so much for attending our session, and if you have questions for me or Igor, please come and ask in person. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alina. Thank you.